Ba-dum-doo-doo-doo-doo. This is the awesome Padron podcast. Okay.
All right. Awkward silence.
I thought y'all were going to say something afterwards.
Well, I didn't know if you were finished. I was letting you hit that last note.
Well, thank you for letting me hit the last note. I appreciate it.
I do want to start off by saying that I finally got a haircut. First time since mid-March.
I also got one, but I've gotten probably about two, maybe one or two since then. Before that. You
just get haircuts all the time. Huh?
Before that. So, yeah. Hey, guys. We keep lying to y'all because we skipped last week. But to be fair, we're in a time in our life where we just are not having time. And it's like every week we have something to do.
Yeah.
Like on Tuesday we were gonna do it, but then their parents wanted to surprise. No, well, we already knew, but I didn't realize how much we were getting.
Yeah.
Furniture.
They wanted to get us furniture, and so I went with them to go get furniture, and it was insane. I'm like, whoa, why? It's so many couches. Like I thought maybe one or two. But
we're becoming adults, guys.
We went to like 5 different places.
Yeah,
I was helping them.
The front room in our house looks like a completely different room now because it used to be completely empty. Well, not there's some stuff on the floor, but now it has a whole bunch of like fancy furniture and a rug and everything.
Yeah.
Look, and y'all went to some pretty fancy houses.
Yeah, we went to some really rich people houses. Rich people houses, like
because y'all went on Craigslist to find them, find the furniture. And
like
then,
I'm being honest, I like this house we're living in now. I look and I'm like, man, it's pretty nice houses. And then I went over there like, whoa, like, man.
Yeah, didn't you say like one had like a kitchen in the garage, and then an actual kitchen in the house?
Yeah, exactly.
So
it reminds me when we used to deliver for Amazon Flex.
Oh,
and we would see all those really nice, fancy houses.
Yeah, it got pretty crazy. the houses we saw while delivering.
Yeah, like, man, I don't even know what I would do with that, at all, you know. But yeah, it was. So this last Tuesday, that's what happened. We unpacked, and then his dad wanted us to go, which it wasn't a bad idea because it's done now, you know.
Yeah.
Most of it is anyways. He wanted us to go ahead and bring it all in the house.
Yeah, especially because your dad and your family were all here, so we figured just might as well bring it all in.
Yeah, because they're here to help.
We had all the help.
Yeah. So it was cool, and pretty much that's why we didn't get it done on Tuesday because there was a lot of it. It lasted. I was moving stuff from like 10, probably like 11 to like 6 or 7 maybe.
Yeah, it was like 7 or 8. Yeah.
Was it like 7 or 8?
I think so.
It was a while.
I think I did get to like 8.
Yeah, it's pretty late. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this, or listening to it. Like I always say, if you like what we have to say but hate what you have to see, head on over to Google Play, Spotify, or whatever Apple does. We probably need to figure that out.
Is it Apple Podcast?
Is it right in the link you say wherever podcasts are podcasted?
Is that what they say?
Probably easier to say. But I guess that's their thing.
Yeah, that's their thing. We have our thing though.
They're saying Google Play, Apple, and Spotify.
Yeah, we have our thing, which is just naming off what
every place that you.
Except we don't know the name of one of them. So that's the only difference.
Yeah, that's how we're unique.
Yeah, we don't know the name of one of the things we're on. That's how we're unique. That's what we're known for. But yeah,
we might not get a sponsorship from them.
Yeah. Does anybody get sponsorship from Apple?
Oh no, I've never heard of it.
I don't know.
I think they make enough money; they don't need it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening or whatever you're doing with us here. But we have some stuff to talk about. To be honest, I forgot what it was.
We have 2 topics lined up. I don't know which one you all want to talk about first.
We can. I
feel he doesn't even know what they are.
There's 2.
We can talk about one of them.
There's a TV show.
Haunting of Bly Manor. Well,
well, I guess since you said it, we can talk about it.
I can't remember what the other one was, but
the Spider-Man.
It's
gonna end up at the very end, like last episode, isn't it? And we're gonna talk about it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix. We just finished.
I'm making more noise with this than I was last time.
We just finished watching Haunting of Bly Manor. Sorry, I'm just having to hear Marcus sip through his straw over there.
I feel like I'm making more noise. I
You probably can't hear it on the microphone.
But like the thing is that he's slurping, but then he's also moving his cup around in a weird way, so the ice is hitting.
All right. But yeah. When did we finish it? Last night.
Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah, but
Marcus is being weird today.
I popped my neck.
it was a very different show than Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
But I love them so much for different reasons.
Yeah.
They're very different. Like I said, they're very different shows. Haunting of Hill House was very like plot driven. Not that there wasn't great characters or anything, but it was more horror. There's more story driven stuff in it, whereas Bly Manor was more slow paced, had more was more character driven.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was still hidden ghost in Bly Manor, but it wasn't what you were looking for.
No,
you were
yeah.
paying more attention to the story.
Right. Yeah, and like a lot of people have said, and like they even say in the very last episode, that it's a love story, not really a ghost story. There are still a lot of ghost stories in it. The central plot of it is about ghosts, but it is at its core more of a love story than you would expect going into it. So
And
if you do decide to watch it, just expect that.
And it wasn't a love story that was shoved in your face like a
Yeah.
rom-com.
Yeah, because that's what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting like a rom-com or anything, but because I think Chris Stuckman said that was a love story.
Yeah.
I watched the beginning of Jeremy John's review until he mentioned spoilers, and then I stopped watching his review before he finished it, and he mentioned that was a love story. So I was kind of expecting it to be just like a straight up love story, but it's not really that. It's kind of complex. It's kind of hard to talk about.
And it's also not just love between like your spouse. It's also family love, and also grief is a big part of it. And how do we get over our loved ones?
Yeah, heartbreak.
When they leave us, how do we accept that and move on?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said the other day to me, kind of what you just said, that it's a lot about heartbreak and how you get over it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the characters have their own little heartbreaks, and then it just shows how they kind of overcome it. Like the main character, Danny, she had something that happened in her past. I don't know if we want to talk about spoilers or not.
We talk about spoilers on this podcast all the time.
So-
We'll talk about spoilers.
So like her fiance, her fiance that she had just broken up with, like the very next second he got hit by a car and died. So she's kind of had that heartbreak, and she ran to
and it
England.
wasn't like she didn't love him anymore. They had grown up together, and she still loved him, but not in the way that he needed her.
Right.
because she like started, or well, she changed pretty much. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It isn't. She must have not been that way like earlier, but she ended up. She was lesbian later on, and so I guess it's whenever she started realizing like she doesn't like she doesn't have these feelings for him anymore,
Right.
You know,
Right.
because she started changing, you know. So it was a cool thing. Like you could tell she loved him. Like she was sad and crying, you know. And it's not like a sad crying thing because you feel bad for him. Well, I mean it is, but like it's awkward. But it's like because I still love you and I don't want to make you feel this way.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's just that like I can't be with you because I'm no longer attracted. I'm no longer wanting to be with you. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
you're not my type. You know, kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know, so but no, it was really good. I think a lot of people, and we've read it before. Some people find that it's really boring. You know, and I'll say this. Like I do agree that maybe the first season has a higher rewatchability.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit. And I can see that point of view, but I just don't see the point of view of saying that this is not a good season or it's boring.
Yeah, and not saying that the first few episodes aren't bad, because I was really invested in them from the early on, but it does, especially like the fourth and fifth episode is when it starts really getting into like the main, what the actual story is about. So and like Jeremy Johns mentioned, like it's kind of hard to say just wait out till for the fourth or fifth episode, because there's quite a bit to watch before you fully start to see if you actually like it or not. But I really feel like people need to watch it till at least the fourth or fifth episode.
Yeah,
Because that's when it starts showing like what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole season is good, but it is a lot. It
Yeah.
is a lot of build up.
Yeah.
And it's needed build up.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
And it's still
you get invested in the characters.
There's never an episode that I felt like, oh, this is the filler episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every episode was important to the story.
Yeah, there was the second to last episode, and when it first started, I was like, I don't know if I need this.
Yeah.
And at first, I thought it was going to be a filler episode.
Yeah, especially because like it was about some ghosts that we had kind of seen a little bit, but it wasn't one that we had seen that often.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we're really going to have a whole episode dedicated to this
Yeah.
one ghost. But then you
Yeah, pretty much.
saying,
Yeah,
but-
you see it, you watch it, and by the end of it, you're like, man, it is really important.
Yeah,
you know,
And
exactly.
I love that story because, you always know, like, especially a woman in white, a ghost, it's a woman scorned, right? And when they first started this story, I was like, it's going to be the typical ghost story. It's a woman scorned, and that's why she's angry and killing people.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than that. And it was, by the end of it, you're just so heartbroken for her.
Yeah, and I really think that this show, which I don't want to use the word accurate because obviously we don't know how ghosts are in real life, if they even exist. But if ghosts were real, or if ghosts are real, I honestly think that this is how ghosts would be in real life, just like bouncing between memories that they had in their past, and eventually over time, like Viola's character, the ghost that we were just talking about, you start to lose those memories and start to lose who you are.
Yeah.
And other movies and shows have like kind of depicted that before, but I feel like this show did it perfectly.
Yeah, especially because, didn't that take place back in like the whenever the Black Plague was?
Right, yeah, because they were wearing the plague mask, which is pretty relevant right now. But.
Yeah, but over that been centuries ago. Over time you're gonna forget who you are and why you're there.
Yeah.
And I think it showed that, like you start losing your identity. That's why the ghosts didn't have face, because they've lost their identity, who they were.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was really good. I don't understand why people. I guess people went in expecting another horror story, and it wasn't.
It's not like it wasn't creepy, because there was a lot of times in this season where it was really creepy.
Yeah.
But it just was very subtle, and the first season wasn't very subtle. And I'm not saying anything bad about that or anything. The first season was great. I loved it. But it just wasn't subtle, and so people were watching the first season and like, expecting that in this one. You know? But it just was very subtle in the creepiness, and also the horror element of it just wasn't the main aspect of it.
And even the creepiness, like, maintained, like when the lady in white, like, basically like possesses Danny. You have this whole buildup of when is she going to show up again and take Danny. And so even though it's still continuing with her and Jamie's love story, you still have that creepiness because you know that there's something still lurking inside of her.
Yeah. And I really do love that last episode. Like everything.
It made me cry so
everything
much.
about the last episode, especially even like the last scene of it and all that stuff, when you're seeing everybody, it turns out that all these people you're seeing at the very first episode was the whole family you've been following throughout.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say also, like, I felt like, because it was funny, because at the beginning when I first saw it, at the very beginning I was watching, I'm like, that Carla Gugino, I think it's her name.
Yeah.
I was like, she's probably most
the
likely
mom from Spy Kids.
Yeah. I was like, Danny's probably gonna be her, but it was like a cool little switch up.
Yeah.
Finding out that it was actually, I can't remember
Jamie.
her name. Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I thought the narrator is gonna be Danny.
Yeah.
But I really loved. I wasn't expecting it, like you said, like the whole like family to be the people at the wedding.
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting. I thought it was just gonna be the narrator.
Yeah.
Gonna be the person telling the story.
Which I'm glad it did happen like that, because at a certain point it's like, why is she telling this story? Like.
Yeah.
There's random stories to these random people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense though, and I mean,
to Greg Sestero.
Yeah.
Of all people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, which we haven't brought that up yet. If you have Greg Sestero, Greg
From The Room.
That was a pretty great cameo. Like,
Yeah.
he was barely in it, but it was a pretty great cameo.
I'm glad he had a few lines too.
Yeah, I know,
he wasn't
exactly.
just there.
I know, exactly.
And the girl that played Hannah, I haven't seen her in anything else, but she did amazing. Like every scene.
Wait, who?
The housekeeper.
Oh, Hannah. Oh, okay.
Hannah Gross,
I didn't hear what name you said.
Yeah. Huh?
Hannah Gross, yeah.
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 Her character is so heartbreaking when you find out what actually happened.
It was
to her.
so sad.
It's just crazy to think that she was like dead from the moment that Danny got there.
Like literally, she died right before.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then what was the cook's name?
What was his name?
Owen.
I knew it started with an O. I almost said Oliver. Owen. I wanted them to be together so badly.
Oh yeah.
But to know that, it was never gonna happen.
That was so sad.
Yeah.
Owen was honestly like the most likable character I've seen.
I know that you thought for a while he was gonna die.
Yeah, from like the very first episode that he was in.
Yeah, I know you're like he's gonna die. He's too nice.
He was too nice.
Yeah,
but I'm glad he survived. But it still wasn't that happy because there was still sadness because Hannah obviously died and he liked her a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. And his mom died.
Yeah, exactly.
So he went through a lot of heartbreak through the season.
Yeah.
But you said that the actor could be in a Marvel movie.
Oh yeah. Like I was brought it up to you yesterday. I was like, if they're going for diversity, which it would be good and be cool. You know, he wouldn't be too bad like a Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I honestly would really. I don't know if I'd say Mr. Fantastic just because everybody wants John Krasinski to be Mr. Fantastic, which I kind of do too. But he'd be working against all that.
Yeah.
It'd be almost like the Robert Pattinson. People have a negative view.
That is true. They might
from the
hate
get-go.
that. They might hate it if he's casted just because.
But I really would like him to be some Marvel character though, or something big.
Because he's fantastic.
Yeah, he showed a lot of range in the show.
I know it was
because he was likable. In a lot of scenes, he got emotional. That monologue he had at the campfire.
Especially you turn your phone down.
The monologue he had at the campfire when his mom died.
Especially because you knew that his mom had dementia and Alzheimer's, so you kind of expected it that she was going to die at some point in the show.
Right.
But his monologue just made you feel like you knew her for so long.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. We never even saw the character.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he was creepy, and especially in that Hannah episode.
Yeah,
like the 5th episode, I think, when it was all about the Hannah character.
Memories,
and she kept going into that one memory where she was interviewing with Owen.
Yeah.
And he had to be like kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Because he was just like a figment of her imagination.
Yeah.
Which that brings up a point that we talked about. So I went to IMDb to read reviews over the Hannah Gross episode, the 5th episode. And I read this one thing that this guy gave it a 1-star, the episode, because he said that it was blatant plagiarism of an episode of Castle Rock.
Oh yeah, I remember you told us that.
So I don't know if anybody's seen Castle Rock, but there's a character in there. The whole time you think that this character has Alzheimer's, and come to find out she's jumping through time, kind of like Hannah Gross. But it wasn't blatant plagiarism. Yeah, I even mentioned to y'all this kind of happened in Castle Rock, but it wasn't the same events.
Yeah.
I mean, Hannah Gross's character was dead, and she's just jumping from memory to memory.
Right.
In Castle Rock, the character was jumping from important times because she needed to do something in each of those time frames.
Right.
So to say that it's the blatant plagiarism of an episode is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll say this, I'm not going to say the same thing, but I even brought up how it's not the same thing really almost at all, but it just it reminded me a lot of that one BoJack Horseman episode.
Yeah, I think the second to last episode of the first season.
Yeah, whenever he's doing a lot of drugs and he's switching between different things that he could have done.
Yeah.
or
Right,
could
exactly.
have been, or just different
just having different hallucinations.
Yeah, different hallucinations and stuff like that. But no, if y'all haven't seen it, I'm sorry. We warned y'all on spoilers, but
y'all said
that. Well, hey, wasn't there a study that if you know how a movie ends or show ends, you'll actually like it better?
You'll actually enjoy it more, yeah.
Which I have something to say on that, but the episode that I thought was going to be a filler episode was when they went into Uncle Henry's past.
Oh yeah,
because he came off as such as a jerk.
Yeah. And
when it was obvious the episode was going to be about him, I was like, who cares? He's obviously a jerk that doesn't care about his niece and nephew.
Right.
He's this rich guy who like looks down on people, but then to hear what he had to go through.
Oh, and pretty much he didn't go over there because his brother pretty much didn't want him over there.
Yeah, because I don't know if we want to say it, but you know, something big happened, and
which I mean, we feel a lot of spoilers already. So so I mean,
I honestly really love when like movies can take like a character that's been shown to be like a jerk, but then show like they're like the other side of them, and why they are, which that kind of reminds me. I mean, it's not really the same situation, but what was that one movie where that one guy is like a really big jerk, and like everybody knows that he's a jerk, but then there's like a plane crash or something, and he saves that one
Hero.
woman. Yeah, Hero.
With Dustin Hoffman? I love that movie.
Oh, was Dustin Hoffman in it?
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman.
I haven't seen it since I was a little kid, but I know why that popped in my mind right now.
Hero,
but then like he like let somebody else take the glory of saving all the people.
Yeah, he left, like, it was like this homeless dude played by, I think it was Andy Garcia or something like that. Yeah, this homeless guy, he let him take all the glory from it.
Yeah.
I
don't know why that popped in my head.
Hero. Yeah, no, I love that movie. I've seen it like 2 times. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You haven't seen it? We need to watch that movie. It's a really good movie.
But you were saying how if you know the ending to something that you're more than likely to like the movie once you see it. I feel like that's how it was for me with The Village, because I had already had the ending spoiled for me.
And, you just watched that today.
Yeah, and I just watched it today, and the whole time I was thinking, why did people hate this movie? Like, it wasn't a great M. Night Shyamalan movie, but it was good. Right. And I just remember that movie getting so much hate.
Yeah.
Probably chewing ice.
Why are you chewing ice?
Why?
I like ice.
You trying to do ASMR over there?
Rub my beard on there. No.
Was The Happening M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Yeah,
because that's another one that people hated too.
Yeah,
which I know
I feel like
I'm
not gonna like that one.
Yeah. Actually, have you seen Chris Tuckman's Hilariosity?
Yes, that's why.
I was like, it's not that good. It might be fun to watch though, but there's some pretty ridiculous scenes in that. Yeah. If you haven't seen it yet, like I said,
Haunting of Bly Manor, not The Happening.
Yeah, The Happening. Yeah. I mean, go watch it. We did just tell you a whole bunch of stuff if you didn't walk away from this, but it's a great season. Mm-hmm. It really is. I really do like it as much as The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, and you know, Hill House stayed with me, but this one has stayed with me for a while. You know, I keep thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing, not to interrupt, but another thing you mentioned that you read somewhere was that because at the end, obviously, I mean, we've talked about spoilers already, but you know, Danny dies because she has the Viola, the Lady of the Lake, spirit in her body, and it's been bothering her for so long that she almost kills Jamie in her sleep. So she decides to just go into the lake and kill herself. But then if you go back to the first episode, well, she dies. Then Jamie, even grown up as the older woman, the narrator, she still like sits in her living room with the door open a little bit at night, just in case Danny decides to come back. And she like looks in the water in the sink to see if she can see Danny at all. But if you go back to the first episode, she's doing that like at the very beginning. Yeah, she's like staring at the water. She's just sitting in front of the door. In her room, so I think it's pretty cool.
I loved how at the end, but you get to see her hand on her shoulder.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and then just cut to the credits.
Yeah,
I love that scene.
Someone said, you know, it's even when your loved ones are gone, they're still with you.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, some ghost way or some like, you know, in spirit. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was going to say. I had something in my head and then I forgot it.
Nah, but yeah, it was a great season. I really do want to talk to, because I have seen people just straight up not like it. It's weird.
I remember what I was going to say. A lot of people that I was reading like negative reviews and stuff, there was a lot where I was seeing where they're like, that ending's stupid. How is it that Jamie in 10 years time looks that old? And what people don't realize is that when people go through grief or a loss, especially like hers, they age a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying, I I guess the time frame was 10 years. I don't know.
I don't know if they ever said, but maybe.
Yeah, but that's how I took it, as, you know, she's gone through like so much.
Yeah.
Losing Danny, and then every day hoping she's coming back, and sleeping in a chair, you know, all that is going to age you a lot.
Yeah. No, exactly. But the next thing, I mean, are we done with that little conversation?
Yeah, just I really.
Oh my goodness!
Dropping my microphone.
You know, one thing that I know that Chris Effman talked about in his review, but Jennifer's body.
Oh. Well, let me just say before we go, because I was gonna say just that I really do think that Mike Flanagan is one of the best writers and directors.
Yeah,
and
I think we've talked about it. People need to go see Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, like honestly, not even just like one of the best horror writers and directors, but one of the best directors in general.
No, exactly.
Yeah, because he's able to take Bly Manor, which is a love story, and make it into a creepy horror, but not losing its essence.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and haven't they announced the third season?
Yeah,
or is it a third season, or is it just a different show with the same same actors?
It's probably this. I mean, technically speaking, Haunting of Bly Manor is a different series.
True, but it's gonna be like a Haunting of blah blah blah.
I don't think it's gonna be Haunting of. It looked like it was just something mass. Or something. I didn't see Haunting of in the title. So.
And like the story that because Haunting of Bly Manor is an actual story.
Microphone. I'm sorry.
It's an actual story. I forgot who the author is, but like everything that's in the series is some book from that author, like short story from the author. So it's not like it's. I mean, Mike Flanagan, you know, how to intertwine all these stories, right? But like he did it so well.
Yeah. Not like a Goosebumps where they intertwined all the stories.
I really was hoping with the Goosebumps movies they would have just straight up made a scary version of one of the books, like just got one of the books and made an actual scary version, but like Nickelodeon or what? I think it's Nickelodeon.
Was it Nickelodeon?
I think it was Nickelodeon.
Like, no, let's do something crazy. We get all the books and open them up, you know, and all
and not have the theme song.
Not have the theme song even in the credits.
That is just so ridiculous. That when that theme song used to come on, I would be so creeped out just by the theme song.
And then it made it into some adventure comedy, which I'm not going to act like the movie was bad. It was fine. Like I didn't mind watching it. You know, there was nothing wrong with it, but you know, it was just it's Goosebumps. Like you have a chance to make Goosebumps actually, like I'm not going to act like the movies were like horrible. Yeah. Like the old movies, but they were pretty cheesy. Like you have the chance to get Goosebumps with like an actual, like a high budget, and make an actual creepy movie out of these things, right? And you make this adventure comedy out of it with Jack Black as R.L. Stine.
They should have done an anthology.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much, you know, or maybe even redo them on Netflix, you know, something like that, you know. Which I just want to point that out again. I don't think it's that bad of a movie. I definitely didn't like hate watching it, but you know,
they just shouldn't have called it Goosebumps if that's not what they were going to do with it.
Which I mean, the plan they had with it had to almost have been Goosebumps, unfortunately. But I just felt like they should have done something else. Like I really want like an actual, like they make the books, but actually make like good, well acted, pretty creepy movies. You know? Right.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Dr. Sleep and Bly Manor, we were talking about Henry, the character Henry, and the thing that was in his past was that he was having an affair with his brother's wife. And the brother's wife was played by the girl who played Shelley Duvall's part in Dr. Sleep. Yeah. And then Henry Thomas played Jack Nicholson's part in Dr. Sleep. So.
And they were in love with each other. Yeah. Technically.
Yeah, in Bly Manor.
In Bly Manor and in
The Shining.
The Shining. Which The Shining, I think they were in love with each other at one point.
You know, The Shining just went crazy.
Yeah, they were married, so yeah. Brittany, you brought up Jennifer's Body a while ago.
Oh yeah, because I've never seen the movie, and honestly, I never wanted to see the movie because of such negative reviews.
But honestly, even the trailers just made it look pretty bad.
And I'm not a big Megan Fox fan.
I've started to like her here lately.
Yeah.
Like, not like her, but like she seems like, I think we just gave her too much hate, you know?
Yeah.
She was so much related to the sex appeal that was going on back then.
Right. Yeah. And to me, she wasn't that great of an actress, but as a person, she seems like a really, especially in interviews I've seen her in. Mm-hmm. But after watching Chris Tuckman's review over it and how much this studio wanted to play up on Megan Fox just being hot.
Right.
And that's not what this movie was about at all. And I didn't even realize that it was a female director that directed it.
Right.
And there was one part in his review where he looked it up, and he'd watched an interview with the director and the writer, and she said that they actually filmed Megan Fox walking down the hallway in slow motion and showed it to the studio because she knew that would get them off her back and let her make her movie. Like, that is just so sad.
Yeah.
That,
like, why can't we just have an attractive person in a movie just because it's just in a good movie? That's it.
Right.
You know, not because have an attractive person in the movie because she's attractive. Which I understand. The main point of the movie was she was attractive, right? Mm-hmm. Which I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure it's like
just from what I've heard.
So it needs to be someone who is like attractive to, like, you know, high school teenagers and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was like they marketed it as this movie that, like, oh, it's hot Megan Fox walking around, you know, like, and it was like that was the only reason why this movie was made. It seemed like, you know,
and like, didn't he say that they had Megan Fox like advertised like on porn sites and all that for the movie?
And then there was an interview. It was just Megan Fox and the director, and they were talking, and the director was talking about how a lot of the test screenings were like frat boys. Mm-hmm. And I remember Megan Fox was like, that's because of me, right? Like, so disappointed, like, you know, I'm sorry, like, that it's my fault that, you know, and it shouldn't be Megan Fox's fault, you know? Like you said, they needed a woman that was attractive enough to lure these high school boys in. Yeah. And, but it's so sad that, you know, she feels like the movie failed because of her.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad, and I want to see it because I mean Chris Tuckman liked it. So I mean I'm not going to say I always agree with Chris Tuckman, but I agree with him. Most of the time.
Yeah, he's honestly the YouTuber that I agree with the most on movies, because like I watch him, Jeremy Jahns, and Sean Chandler, and out of those three, I definitely agree with Chris Tuckman the most.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times whenever I did it, but
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, overall, like he didn't really like Midsommar. He liked it, but not that much.
Well, he liked it probably about as much as me and Zach did when we first saw it.
Yeah.
You know, which I think maybe, you never know, maybe because when you first watch it, it's not like it's in the trailer like this is a movie about about a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Which talking about mismarketing, which I don't think Midsommar was really mismarketed, but Ari Aster's other movie, Hereditary, definitely was.
Yeah.
A lot of A24 horror movies are.
A lot of horror movies are in general.
Yeah. Good horror movies.
Good horror movies are really mismarketed.
It's because they're trying to appeal to modern horror fans that want the jump scares.
And I think what the sad thing about that is like, I hate that they're mismarketed like that, but it's like at the same time, are people going to go watch them?
Right.
They don't mismarket them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just like Dr. Sleep, right? I thought Dr. Sleep's trailers showed just enough, and look, it bombed in the box office, but it was a great horror movie.
Which honestly doesn't make any sense to me, because a lot of people were always like, it mismarketed because they didn't talk. They are not mismarketed. It didn't make any money because they didn't market it correctly. They should have talked about how it was a sequel to Shining. But the thing is there is a lot of horror movies, terrible horror movies that don't have any movies before them. That make a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, why was this one the one?
Yeah.
That didn't make anything.
It's just like, what was that? American Psycho?
Yeah.
That had nothing to do. The sequel had nothing to do.
Yeah.
They were just capitalizing on the first movie.
Like what wasn't even supposed to not even be a sequel. It wasn't until like after the movie was made, they just like, let's just make a sequel.
Yeah.
That's right. I think so. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So they have a scene at the beginning where
Mila Kunis kills Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, but then you have like the Conjuring series, that started off good. Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2 are great, but as it goes on, it's repetitive. Yeah. And those movies make so much money. Yeah. And the fact that Dr. Sleep doesn't, or you have the A24 movies that don't do well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the first two Conjurings were good. The first Annabelle wasn't good. The second Annabelle wasn't bad. It was pretty good. The third Annabelle was fine. I think it was like okay. It was like
it was surprisingly pretty good.
Yeah, it was surprisingly like okay. Like I watched it, I was like, yeah, it's not bad. You know, it's definitely not like up there with any of the other Conjuring movies, but it's at least good. You know. But then after that, they just went down. Like the Nun. The Nun was one of the worst things I've ever experienced.
The Curse of La Llorona was awful. The fact that it even connected to the Conjuring makes me so angry.
Yeah.
Especially after watching the movie, like. Because I wanted to watch the movie just to see how it connected to The Conjuring and how it connected. You know how it connected? I think I've told y'all, but how it connects is the priest that was in the first Annabelle that like took Annabelle is in The Curse of La Llorona, and he mentions Annabelle, and that's how it connects. That's it. It's a scene where he just says, "Yeah, I used to work with this doll Annabelle," and why?
It's not really a universe. I mean, technically, because the characters are in there. And then I remember the Nun connected. And the Nun, I don't know if we've talked about it here, but the way they connected the Nun was the stupidest possible they could have connected the Nun, especially whenever they had the best way to connect
I know, right?
Yeah.
That movie had such a great way to connect the Nun, and they didn't do it. Because I think in the movie... It was like at the end of the movie it showed, because there's that scene, I think it was the first Conjuring, whenever Ed and Lorraine Warren are teaching a class, and it shows this guy going through an exorcism, and he's like going crazy, you know, and it's like, oh, it turns out he was the guy from the Nun. Right, because he was like that guy who was helping them, you know. But if you go back and actually watch The Conjuring, it's a completely different guy.
Yeah,
like one of the Conjuring is like an older dude, not like old, but like probably like in his like upper 30s, early 40s, and the guy in the Nun's probably like in his 20s. You know, it's a completely different dude. Doesn't look anything like him, but they had such a great way to connect that movie. It wouldn't have made the movie any better.
Yeah, it would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah. Because what was her name?
Vera Farmiga.
Vera Farmiga
from The Conjuring.
Yeah, from The Conjuring. Her younger sister.
Yeah, like the actress's younger sister.
So much like her.
Yeah. So much like her.
Like honestly, the entire movie, I thought it was.
Well, it made sense
her
because
younger self.
Because the nuns,
the character's younger self.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's all good.
But the nun is always following around Vera Farmiga's character in The Conjuring, and especially the whole second Conjuring movie. That's what it's about. You know. Is like that nun still haunting them.
Yeah.
And then and so in the Nun, like you said, the whole movie you're thinking like, oh, this is her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It makes sense why the nun would be haunting her.
Because this is how she got a contact with her, you know? And they never make that connection.
Yeah, especially because like they even gave her the same kind of like psychic abilities that Vera Farmiga had in the Conjuring movies.
Yeah. I think the only reason they didn't do that is because Ed and Lorraine are actual people.
I mean, true.
And I'm not saying that this makes it right in any way, but you know, I felt like the only reason that makes sense to me is that Lorraine was never a nun to begin with, so we can't do that. But then why even make a universe over real people if you're not going to do the stories?
Yeah, and I feel like they've stretched a lot of it already. So like, why not just do this?
There's the Crooked Man is coming out.
Yeah,
and I'm not excited for them anymore.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate how such like an actual great horror movie got stretched out into these just like really terrible movies.
And the same with Paranormal Activity. I was watching the first one again, and I hadn't seen the whole movie all the way through in a long time. But at the beginning, it makes it seem like these people are real. It says, we want to thank Katie and Micah's family and the San Diego police for giving us this footage. So it makes it feel like you're watching somebody's life.
Yeah.
But then to know that there's so many more movies and it gets so convoluted, it just brings the first movie down so much.
It's why like if we like whenever, because me and Zach are hoping to planning into getting into film soon. I'm trying to figure stuff out with time, but I would love to make a horror movie because I feel like we can make some good action. I don't know if they may like good to the mass audience. Yeah. But like I feel like they'd be good horror movies. You know, because good to the general audience. Horror movies that are good to the general audience aren't necessarily good movies. You know?
Yeah.
So that's the unfortunate part. Horror movies, because a lot of people don't like horror movies because they're like, oh, but you know, why would you want to go see all these jump scares? I'm like, well, that's because you don't know what a horror movie actually is.
Yeah.
A horror movie isn't a lot of jump scares. You know, a horror movie is something that sticks with you. It's actually creepy instead of just like big scares.
Like,
you know?
we were talking about Hereditary, and we rewatched it because my and Zach's dad hadn't seen it, and just the pure horror when the horror kicks in.
Yeah.
It's just, and there's no jump scares. And it's just, you think there's going to be a jump scare because, you know, the mom is behind him, like on the ceiling, and you think like it's going to jump. But there's a scene where she's on the ceiling and then she crawls behind him, like out the door, like on the side of the wall. Yeah. And there's no music. There's no like, doom. It's just, she crawls out and it's so creepy to me.
Yeah, there is a slight jump scare when she starts chasing him, but it kind of feels extremely earned because like, practically the whole movie has led up to that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So and like it's like the character Peter, he's living through that, so it kind of makes sense for it to like, and like it's like the whole music like escalates right at that moment.
Yeah.
It's not just like a sound; it's like the music escalates really fast at that point. So that's just a movie that I really love.
Yeah, it's great. I've heard people say that like the whole movie's great until the end. The end ruins it. To me, it doesn't ruin it like at all. Like that's what the whole movie's leading up to. You know,
yeah,
you know, and to me, because what it is there's a lot of movies where like they're in like a haunted house or something's haunted, and the reason why it's so like, the reason why the whole movie mixes together well is because from the beginning they know that there's something wrong, right, and in Hereditary, they don't know anything's wrong. They know that things are going wrong,
right,
but they don't know that there's something actually making things happen. You know,
yeah,
And so, I mean, I don't, and so to me, like the ending is at the point whenever everyone's starting to realize like this is actually, something's actually happening. And so that's when everything goes crazy, you know? And so, and also I just love that it's kind of movie where it's pretty good it's great when you first watch it, but it's like amazing. Like I've watched it probably, I don't know how many times, I'm just gonna lowball it, say at least 5 or 6 times, you know? And it just gets better because you're watching it, and the fact that you know what happens in the end, you're watching it and being it just gets creepier.
Right.
Yeah, like whenever the dad like mentions that there's like a smell in the house, he mentions that like a few times, and like after knowing that the grandma's dead bodies in the attic the whole time, it just makes it really creepy.
Yeah, and just seeing all the little details that they talk about throughout the movie or just show, it just makes it so much more creepier. And that's on it. That's like Zach says it's probably your favorite horror movie.
Yeah, for the longest time it was Shining, but yeah, I really do think that Hereditary tops it.
For me, I honestly, I don't know if I almost put The Shining and Hereditary in about the same place. It's hard for me to say though, right now.
I don't have a favorite, but there are 4 that I always recommend: Hereditary, Shining, Babadook, and It Follows.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like all 4 of those you need to watch at some point in your life, and it'll give you a greater appreciation for horror. And I'm not saying all 4 of those movies are going to creep you out because horror is subjective, but at least it'll show you to appreciate the genre.
Yeah, I'd even throw Midsommar in there too.
Yeah, Midsommar.
Midsommar, I would throw those 4 in there before Midsommar, not because I think they're better than Midsommar, but just because I feel like Midsommar is the one where you have to kind of know what you're getting into with that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that one's a lot more slower paced than all the other ones, and you have to understand it to like it. You know? Unlike, like I said, me and Zach really didn't understand it when we first watched it. I mean, I'm not gonna say I didn't completely understand it. But like the actual what it was going for.
Yeah.
You know, the actual idea of toxic relationships and slowly trying to get your mind out of that setting.
Because it is a metaphor. Because when you're watching it, you're watching these horrors unfold. And so you're just like, oh my goodness, like what did I just watch? But then once you start realizing what this movie's about, that's when it's great.
Yeah, exactly. No.
But I know that you wanted to talk about
Multiverse. Well, I do want to also bring up, I mean, we don't have to talk about that much, but we were talking about The Conjuring. So I did read today that they confirmed that Insidious 5 is happening. And
another one?
That 4th one was awful.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson is directing it.
Patrick Wilson?
Yeah.
Has he directed it?
I don't know if he's directed anything yet.
Dude,
but
Patrick,
it's apparently going to be what?
What happened to Patrick Wilson all of a sudden?
He's been in all these horror movies.
Yeah, like I liked Patrick Wilson. I'm not gonna say I don't like him anymore.
Yeah.
He's still a good actor, but he was like in a lot of movies.
He was in the Phantom. Well, what I know him from is Phantom of the Opera. He played Raoul.
Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he was like Insidious. He's like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
Well, yeah, Conjuring and Insidious.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in both.
It's just.
I don't know if you said the Conjuring.
The first and second one are really good because they connect really well. The third one was still.
Third one's not bad.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate the third one, but I thought the third one was pretty decent.
But like you said, the fourth one was just awful.
Yeah.
I didn't understand
it. Was so cheesy.
Yeah.
There was that weird kiss.
Oh yeah.
Between
Lee Winnell.
Yeah.
And the girl.
Mm-hmm. It was a weird kiss. It was so strange.
Yeah.
I didn't like that fourth one like at all.
Yeah.
But the first two are pretty great. And I said the reason why I love the first one is because it gets rid of the issue of like, why aren't they getting out of that house?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
all this stuff is happening.
Yeah, all this stuff is happening. Why aren't they moving? Like the first thing I would do is leave. But it's like they do move. It's like, oh, they're smart. They're moving. It turned out, oh, their son's actually haunted. So not haunted, but like their son. Their son.
Yeah.
And so that's why I love that. That's why I love that movie. I will say I've watched it here lately. There is times where it can be a little cheesy, but it's pretty good. It's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the fifth one's gonna be about the son going to college.
Really?
Ty Simpkins or whatever.
Yeah.
The kid from Iron Man 3 and the Nice Guys. Well, I say the Nice Guys, but he's only in the very beginning of the Nice Guys.
Hopefully it's good. I don't know. I mean, maybe Patrick Wilson that knows horror now because he's been in so many horror movies.
He's the expert.
Yeah, he's the expert now because he's been in so
Seems
many
to me
horror
like
movies.
you're the expert, Mark.
So I mean, maybe he'll do good in it. I don't know. Hopefully.
But yeah, the last topic we have about like 12 minutes left is we talked a little bit about this the last episode, but it was at the very end. We didn't have a lot of time. But Spider-Man, it seems like they're introducing the multiverse. Well, I mean, obviously Doctor Strange. The title is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So obviously they're going to be introducing the multiverse in the MCU, which is kind of weird that Marvel and DC, they seem to be having similar movies come out in the same year. Like 2016 had Civil War and Batman vs Superman.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And then 2018 had Aquaman and Black Panther, which are really similar movies. And now they're both introducing the multiverse with MCU's doing the multiverse, and then the Flash movie going to be introducing Michael Keaton's Batman in the multiverse.
I'm surprised Matt McGloin from Cosmic News hasn't been like, Marvel's been copying DC.
Yeah, which I honestly have seen people say that, like, oh, Marvel's just copying DC again. But the thing is, I mean, obviously I don't know the behind the scenes stuff, so maybe Marvel's copying DC, but Marvel announced Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness over a year ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then the DC just announced the Flash stuff like a few months ago.
Not just that, but I really feel like the Flash is happening because how bad the universe is.
Yeah, exactly. They're just hitting the reset button.
Yeah, that's all it is. Because I feel like Marvel plans stuff so far in advance because they have to.
Yeah, exactly. Because their train is already going.
Yeah,
it's like
so they have to
already.
make sure that it's all planned.
Yeah,
I feel like DC just put out Flash because they want to restart the whole universe.
Yeah,
exactly. I think it's probably the best idea.
Right.
Reminds me, you got some bad news, didn't you? Or you heard some bad news
about what?
About the DC, the new HBO.
What was it?
Jared Leto coming back as Joker.
That's right.
I forgot about that.
I completely forgot about that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they announced, was it this week or last week, that Jared Leto's Joker is going to be back for the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I feel like, which I hope it's only just a flashback to show him killing Robin, just to show Batman getting over it after the events of Batman vs Superman. But
my thing is even if it's a flashback, where are they going to have time in this movie? I know it's 4 hours, but you still have to, because the Snyder cut is completely erasing everything we saw in Justice League.
Yeah.
So you have to introduce Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash. You have to get them all to come together. You have to bring Superman back. You have to somehow break them up and bring them back together. You have to introduce the villain.
Yeah.
Even with 4 hours, how are you still going to do that and then still have Jared Leto's Joker?
Randomly.
Which I really do think they should have had the flashback at the beginning of Batman vs Superman. Which, even though I love the beginning scene of Bruce Wayne going through Metropolis while the Man of Steel fight was happening, I do feel like it should have started with the flashback of Joker killing Robin.
Yeah.
Because it would have set Batman's character up a lot more than it did. I still don't think he should have killed people in the movie, but it at least would have explained some things of why he was the way he was. I knew
what they were doing with the Joker. Is Jared Leto still going to be in the DCEU? Is Joaquin Phoenix what are they doing? They need to figure it out. And I know that they're, like you said, maybe they're hoping Flashpoint fixes all of this, but I feel like you still kind of need a plan. Is Jared Leto coming back or not?
Yeah, exactly.
But going back to the Spider-Man side, so they've announced Jamie Foxx is returning as Electro, like we talked about the last episode. What else have they announced? Anything else? Just that Jamie Foxx is gonna be Electro. Which that is pretty big news, because people are saying that, he's just going to be a different character or a different version, which he probably will be, but it is kind of suspicious that he's going to be playing the same exact character when they've already
post a picture on Instagram or Twitter.
Well, Jamie Foxx, when he announced on Instagram that he was going to be returning, which he deleted it pretty soon, but he posted a series of pictures, and one of them was a Photoshop picture of Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield. Yeah. The three Spider-Man.
Some people are like, this confirms that they're going to do a multiverse.
Which, maybe it did, but I feel like he just posted that just to post it. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If he actually knew what was happening.
He'd probably be in pretty big trouble.
Yeah. I feel like that's even worse than what Tom Holland has done.
Yeah. And I think, you were kind of saying it, how, it's cool, but I also hope it's just an end thing.
I really do hope it's just it's teased in the end credit scene and happens in a future movie, because I really hope this movie focuses on Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Yeah. I really hope it's more, because I have loved the whole Tony Stark being a mentor for Peter Parker. I know a lot of people have hated that, but I actually haven't minded it too much.
Yeah.
But you actually made a whole video on it on Too Awesome Men.
Yeah. So I haven't really minded it, but I really do hope that this one is just focused on him. I feel like if they do bring in the Spider-Verse, it's just going to be them mentoring him again.
Yeah, it's going to be too crowded too.
Yeah, it's going to be too crowded. It's just going to be them kind of being a mentor for him again. Yeah. Not again, but he's going to have a mentor again.
I wish that... I understand that Disney and Sony, that whole deal, and Sony wants to eventually break from MCU, and so maybe that's why they're introducing the multiverse. But I just wish it was later on in Spider-Man's story.
Right.
I wish it wasn't in his third movie, especially because Spider-Man's third movie has always been known, with Tobey Maguire, and then Andrew Garfield never got his third movie. Yeah. And I feel like this one just needs to be solid.
Yeah. Which another thing that got people thinking that they're going to do the multiverse, which I feel like there's a strong possibility that there might be in this movie, is that Doctor Strange is going to be in this movie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and obviously his movie's called Multiverse. It has multiverse in the title. So people were thinking that he was going to introduce the Spider-Verse in this movie to Spider-Man. But what scares me is that the report, when they announced that Doctor Strange was going to be in Spider-Man 3, was that he was going to take on the mentor role for Peter. And I really don't want that to happen.
Yeah, because I Peter has really gotten past that.
Yeah, I really feel like if they have any other characters, even if they have Daredevil in this movie, which I still have hope for. I know there's a very low possibility that that's going to happen, but I'm still holding out hope for it. But even if they did have Daredevil, as much as I love that character, I feel like he should be more of an ally than a mentor for Peter.
Especially because Doctor Strange doesn't have any ties to Peter Parker. At least with Tony Stark brought him into the Avengers. And so it made sense that he became the mentor. With Doctor Strange always has this air about him that he's better than everybody. And I know it's gotten kind of better since Endgame. But I don't feel like he should take on. He's not a mentor.
Yeah, especially because like the whole point of Far From Home was Spider-Man becoming his own character.
Yeah,
that's what the whole movie is about. I don't know if a lot of people didn't seem to get that point because they still complained about him being Iron Man Jr. or whatever. But the whole movie, if you watched it, the whole point of it was him becoming his own person, his own superhero.
Right.
So I feel like it'd be really stupid. I'd be on that side.
Yeah.
If they do keep doing this mentor stuff.
Yeah, because honestly, like, what need does he have? What does he need a mentor for?
Right.
By a third movie, especially having this massive character arc,
right?
It'd be stupid if they went with that route.
Exactly.
It'd be, like, utterly stupid, and I'd be mad because like all this time been defending the Tom Holland Spider-Man, you know, and all of a sudden you're just going to do that again. Like, okay, well, obviously that's all you're trying to do the whole time. Like, just having mentorship, you know.
And especially because it seems like they're trying to bring in Miles Morales, which I think it's too early to bring in Miles Morales.
That's another thing that I feel like would be way too early.
Yeah, but if you want to start bringing him in, Peter Parker needs to start being his own person because then he's eventually gonna have to take over that mentor role for Miles Morales.
Right.
So you can't keep having him being mentored and then have him also mentor Miles Morales.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Miles Morales being in there maybe as like a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, like just having him in the movie, you know, like, oh look, there's Miles Morales. That's so cool, you know?
Right.
But you know, like I really hope they don't go that route, you know. But you know, hopefully Doctor Strange doesn't take up because like cause I think you're saying I don't know if it was confirmed that Tom Holland was mad about.
Yeah, there's some report. It was We Got This Covered, which posted a lot of clickbaity articles. Yeah. But they did say that it was from a reliable source that already broke. I forgot they listed the other scoops that they had, but I can't remember what they were. But they turned out to be true. But apparently Tom Holland is kind of upset that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield have been rumored being Spider-Man 3 because he wants it to be more focused on his Spider-Man, since Tony Stark and Nick Fury have been kind of a big role in his previous two movies. Yeah, kind of like what we've been talking about.
Yeah, hopefully it's all good. I mean, you know. But I think that's all we got for y'all guys. I think that's it. Thankfully, we actually went on a little tangent in the middle of this because you know it would have ended a little early. You know, but it's all good. But
I remembered Jared Leto at the last second. That could have been a good thing to talk about, but we can talk about it next time.
We were very angry about that. That's all you know. I mean, it depends on how it is, and you never know. I'll give him a second chance. Yeah. If he does good, I'll give him that chance. But if he does how he did in Suicide Squad, no, it's terrible. Yeah. But anyways, that's all we got, guys. If you want to check us out, we'll try to start doing these every week. When hopefully we have more time. If you want to, you can check our YouTube channel, Two Awesome Men. If you want to go look at that, it's mainly just me and him talking about movies. We actually reacted to the first and last episode of Bly Manor, so if you want to see our first reactions,
we'll try to have that up pretty soon.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much, and you'll hopefully see us next week. And that'll be it.